Been part of the National Mentorship Movement since 2021, in March. Changed
Nice.
roles since then, but yeah, I've been in the heart of it since 2021, and
Lovely.
one of the greatest relationships that we ever had was between you and Paul. I'm not sure who else you mentored besides him on our platform. I want to know of him.
There was a couple of others, but they only hung around for a little while and then they disappeared. It is what it
Okay.
is, yeah. But Paul is such a sweetie.
Ah, he thinks very highly of you as well.
Good, he better. No, I'm just joking.
All
Oh,
right.
good.
I'll pass it on to Telfa to continue the conversation.
Perfect. Thanks. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So yeah, Dan, I think you were sent the questions
I was.
beforehand. But if you would allow us to make this more of a discussion, so
Yeah.
not necessarily let us ask you questions, then you answer, but you're welcome to ask questions where you want to. You're also welcome to share thoughts and ideas on how we can actually go on to make this more effective and impactful. But my first question to you, so more than what motivated you to join the National Mentorship Movement as a volunteer mentor, I wanted to hear you link that to your background. So
Sure.
tell us why or what motivated you. That will speak to the why or the things that you were doing beforehand.
Awesome. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, then it will all make a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
So I started my career in retail and I climbed very fast through the ranks. I had 13 promotions in 6 years in Woolworths and Edgar's. Edgar's poached me and I went to Johannesburg from Cape Town. And I realized that I had more to offer than in the corporate space. And my baby was ill, so I left the corporate world and I started my own business because, when you start a business, it's very easy. Life becomes fabulous and running a business is easy. That's what we all think. So I started a laundromat thinking that I can manage a baby and a laundromat at the same time. And I grew the laundromat times the current laundromat by 30 in 18 months, which was very exciting because what I realized from corporate was systems were really important, but also the levels of product offering that you offer. You can't only offer one thing. During that time, I realized that having a laundromat was fabulous. However, it wasn't very creative because you can only fold a pair of underwear 7 ways. That was it. You can't fold them any other way, and you can't be any more creative than that. So I sold it as a perfect franchise model, and I started a decor hire company, and I had that for 13 years. It was intense. We did all the top events. It was before eventing became a thing in South Africa. We did the presidential inauguration, all the top corporate events, and I had a fantastic group of staff, a huge warehouse, lots of stock. But 13 years of living on about 2 to 3 hours sleep a day was hectic. So I decided at the age of 40 to sell that business and to retire to Cape Town. So I moved to Cape Town in 2010 and I retired from working. That's what my thoughts were going to be. And in Cape Town, it's very different to Johannesburg. And everybody always tells you that, but you don't realize it until you actually move. So I was in an event where there were other people, and one lady in particular was talking about her business and how she works in her garage and the products and what she's going to do next. And I realized that she was exceptionally creative, but had very little business sense. And so I offered to work with her to get her onto the level of understanding what her next real growth phases were going to be. And we took her business from a garage-based business selling to markets she now exports to 18 different countries. So it was a really beautiful journey that I had with her. But then I realized that being retired was exciting in some instances, but also I had practical business knowledge, which is what very few people have in all spheres, where they're going to give advice. They advise from theory. Theory is very different to actually being in the business. And that's where my journey started. So that's how I joined up with National Mentorship Movement. I also then developed my own program. I then created that as an online academy, and the rest is history. So now I work with business owners and I help them grow. So from a formal base to an informal base to helping where I can, to standing on stages and talking and really pushing people out of their comfort zones, knowing that they can grow their business. Everybody can. It's just one step at a time, so long as you have your support structure around you. We all need cheerleaders to cheer us on, but we also need people that have already done what we want to do in our space, so we know that we can get to that point and gain their guidance. So that's what I've been trying to do with Paul. Paul and I have had a beautiful journey together. We've had lots of interaction, and it's fantastic to see how his products are growing.
Tell you what, this is amazing stuff. I'm tempted to ask which presidential inauguration did you there for or do event planning for, but I'll pack it for now. But it's amazing work looking at your journey and then still willing to give back. So my next question is tied to what you've already touched on, and that is how you felt like raising your own baby and the other baby being the laundromat was challenging. So how do you then still manage to give back through mentorship voluntarily? So, in other words, what support do you get by providing your mentorship support to other people? How have you been supported?
So I think that we have to have people around us, whether we like it or not. Some people that say they're introverts, they're not really. They're just hiding from the world, and we all go through various ups and downs in business. I find that the moment there's a business owner or an entrepreneur that's spiraling downwards, that's a perfect time when you need somebody to push you back up again. So, I mean, I've been through very high highs and very low lows in business, and it continues to be that, even though I've been really nice and successful in my space already, we still go through those moments, and there will always be a need for people around you. So, I also, I only work 3.5 days a week, and I'm laughing because when I tell the business owners that I work with, they all their eyes roll and they do all sorts of things, but it's how you plan your day. So when I work with people, whether it's in my academy or on your platform or anywhere else, it's really about how do you structure your day. People can get very busy being busy instead of busy doing business. And that's how we spiral, because we become so busy, we're chasing that hamster wheel all the time. So I'm very intentional with what I do. I do a lot of networking. I'm out there. I'm trying to motivate as many people as I possibly can. I'm trying to inspire. So show my journey, and my journey continues. I mean, it hasn't stopped. Once I started this, I've received awards from South Africa, from London, from Dubai. I have lifetime achievement awards, and this past year I was honored with honorary doctorate. So now I'm Dr. Diane, which is really quite exciting. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's the big message that I want everybody to know. I never went to university after school. I couldn't afford it. I went and I got 7 jobs to put myself through college. So we all have these moments of what we want to do next. And a lot of people hide behind the fact that they don't have money or they don't have support or they don't have something. But that's not true. We can do anything that we want to do. We've just got to put our minds to it. And I think that that's important. I try and surround myself with experts. So if clients of mine in any form need additional help, I try and bring in as many people as I possibly can to help them, because I think that that's where the real golden nuggets lie. You know, I don't have answers for absolutely everything. Some things maybe, you know, or maybe it's just motivation, or maybe it's the inspiration, or maybe it's something that I say that pushes people to the next level. But you've got to have people around you. You've got to have the right people around you. You've also got to make sure that you understand what the difference is between cheerleaders, because I think there's a lot of mentors out there that can cheer people along, but they don't really provide the right knowledge. And there's a very big difference between the two. So we need the people to cheer us and pat us and you know, jump up and down when we do something good or bad or whatever. But we also need people to say to you that this is not the right direction that you're going in. I mean, Paul will tell you that I've told him on a number of occasions, let's not do it that way. And rather steer them in the way that you can see is the next level of their journey. So you've got to make sure. I have had mentors right through my career, from retail to when I walked into the laundry. I didn't know what I was doing. You've got to gain the knowledge. You've got to gain people around you. From a decor hire business, I had a phenomenal lady pushing me, moving me forward. And even now, I link up with mentors that have the next level knowledge, where I want to go to and how do I get there. And everything is a science. I mean, I dropped science in grade 8 or grade 9. So I didn't enjoy that. But now that many years later, I realized that everything that we do in business is a science. If you know what the steps are, what the process is, it's easy to copy and repeat.
I get it. Thank you. Congratulations, Dr. Diane. So I'm make sure when you do the posting of these things, you put the title Doctor. Okay, it's Doctor
No,
now.
I'll do so. I didn't know. I didn't know.
It's all good. It's all good.
All right,
No,
all right.
wonderful. No,
Yeah.
thank you. So, I know you've engaged, you said, with other mentees besides Paul, but in your engagement with all the mentees that you've had, or perhaps you also speak of mentorship prior to you joining the National Mentorship Movement, but what's that one thing that made you change your perspective of how you see things? It might have come in as a, Paul just pointing it out to you to say, you've always thought that AI is not the way. But let me show you as a mentee. You understand? Because our model is open and says a mentee can teach a mentor can teach a mentee. It's actually a relationship that's, whether you call it sideways or let me call it two ways.
Yeah.
So we're not doing a bottom-up approach.
Yeah.
Therefore, what lesson did you get from your partners that made you change your mindset with regards to spaces in the mentorship?
So I think Paul is probably the perfect example of resilience. You know, he has so much resilience. He gets knocked down so many times, but that man just stands up and moves on. And he needs to be, I think it's a rhino or a buffalo or one of those animals that he just keeps on going forward, which is absolutely phenomenal. And I think one of the big lessons that he taught me is, being an entrepreneur, you've got to have that level of resilience. You've got to have that level of thick skin, because there's a lot of no's. And in Paul's instance, it was such a fascinating journey. Obviously, he's got the business that he's busy developing at the moment, but in order for him to find money along the way, he was trying to sell eggs and do tenders of things that he had no idea of. We spent hours with documents and putting things together so that he could try and generate enough money to move the business forward. And I think that is really what we do as entrepreneurs and business owners. We hustle. And Paul's resilience was just phenomenal to see how he moved it forward, and what he was prepared to do in order to get this business to be a success. So I think that was a huge lesson for me. there's many, and we have a terrible statistic in South Africa where at least 86% of businesses will fail. I don't believe I don't believe it's true. I don't believe that there's failure in it, because it doesn't mean that if your business doesn't work, it's a failure. It means that you've tried certain things and it hasn't worked. It doesn't mean it's a failure. So I think it's about trying to find what is the right avenue for you in certain areas, and that's where entrepreneurs go. And because it doesn't work, they give up. And that's the lesson I think Paul taught me, was to remind everybody that you just got to keep on keeping on, because there is a door that will open.
Okay. Wonderful. It's a beautiful lesson. So allow me then to skip the question on challenges, to say what challenges has mentorship helped you overcome? What challenges has mentorship helped you overcome? So now I'm saying it's because you already that answered this question, to say Paul helped you see that there are many ways to eat an elephant, I think they say.
Yeah.
But if you want to touch on it more, you can, or you're welcome to come back to that. So the next question will speak to you were mentored before, and then you got to join National Mentorship Movement as a volunteer mentor. Now, what does mentoring with NMM mean to you? If you want, you can compare it to what your model of mentorship was before this. But what does that mean to you, mentoring with NMM?
Sure. I mean, when I heard about M&M, it was in an event. I think there was a number of people there that were showcasing what can happen, how it can help, and that was when I was exposed to it. I didn't know that you guys were around. So I think it becomes really important, because there's a group of people that are supporting you as a business owner, but then you guys are also supporting us as mentors. So if we have questions and queries, we can also reach out. And with all the education that you share and the knowledge that you share, there's always something to learn. It doesn't matter what level of business you are at, there's always something more to learn and to see and to do and to connect with. I think that's the other side, is that it really comes down to who the connections are and how can you help my business in many cases be seen and people can understand that I'm part of this, which is great, and it's part of my credibility. So that also helps me along the way. It creates a nice authority in the space.
That's super cool. You actually answered a question that I wanted to ask earlier, to say, how did you know of NMM? So we are happy that there are spaces that you also touched on networking. There are spaces that you network at, and you got to hear of us, which is great. So from what you've shared, I believe you will continue putting up your hand to volunteer as a mentor. So I won't ask how you're going to pay it forward, but I'm going to ask to say, what are you going to do different going forward in terms of mentorship, having gone through a couple of mentees or partnerships before? What are you going to do differently going forward in the space of mentorship?
Sure. I mean, I think that just recently there was a call for mentors for Tigerberg. For Tigerberg. And I put my hand up and said, sure. But then there was no real clear mandate of what we were to do, how many times, all that kind of thing. And I think that the business owners, entrepreneurs coming into a mentorship space need to have guidelines. So when I sat with the business owner that I was working with, she had no idea. She hadn't worked with a mentor before. She didn't understand what she could do, what she couldn't do. She thought that I was going to open up all the doors and solve all the world's problems for her. I don't know what they are until you tell me what your problems are. Every business is very different. So I think going forward is more about how they should engage with us and how I can engage with them. And that's what I'm going to do differently. With Paul, we created such a beautiful relationship immediately. You know, I met him in Johannesburg. He WhatsApps me all the time. He emails me all the time. He sends me messages on any form of platform that he can possibly be at that specific time. And that's absolutely perfect. And that's how our relationship is. But I think that others, however, became quite nervous and they weren't sure whether they were allowed to reach out and how often are they allowed to reach and what questions can they ask. And, you know, so it's about putting them at ease and also reminding them that we're all human and they can reach out. And, you know, if they sit in a situation, they're allowed to ask questions. And the reason why we're here is that we can open up some doors for them because my network is very different to what their network would be. And also answer questions from a practical point of view of what are those next kind of steps. You know, people tend to believe that in business you're going to go from 0 to 1 million in 5 months, and that's not really how it works. And do you really want to get to 1 million, you know, in many cases? And what are the implications when you get there? And, you know, so there's a lot of things that goes behind a business. It's not just the sales or the money that comes in. So I think that that's how I would work differently with the next one, with the next mentee that comes through, is these are my rules. And you know, so you got my WhatsApp number, you've got my email address, and also to put in more consistency. I see with the businesses that I officially work with, the more consistent I am with them, so the more often we meet, the better. I've moved from, I created a program that's every quarter for 2 days. In fact, we start meeting tomorrow and Thursday, which are last for the year. And the consistency behind sharing knowledge and wisdom and asking questions and getting them to strategize, etc., other people's input into their business too. So that's how I would work differently.
No, that's beautiful. So take notes. We need to put this as a standout so that going forward we also help others. But thank you so much for your time, Dr. Diane. It is a cool face to it. We appreciate your work. Please continue sending the word out there that NMM is available for people to put up their hands, just to volunteer and support other businesses or people. Remember, we're not only mentoring businesses, but we also mentor people in other spaces too. But thank you so much for your time. Do you have questions, thoughts, final parting words?
No, didn't I have something to, his hand was up 2 seconds ago. Did you wanted to say something?
Of course I did, Dr. Diane. Of course I did. I cannot, the conversation cannot end without me saying something to you. I've been communicating with you through emails. I think at one point it was through WhatsApp, but never, I'm not going to say face to face, but yeah, this is good enough. This is good enough. And I am grateful to have spent this time with you, seeing you like this, and for you to express what mentorship is to you and to commend you for the work that you do and to say thank you. Continue being with us. I wanted to say, give us another poll, you know, but but I'm not gonna say that, but continue doing the work that you do, and hopefully you inspire others the way that you did with Paul. You did a great job with Paul. I will not lie to you. And I once had a conversation with him when I told him that your brand is now big. I am in Bombela, Nelspruit, and I went to Mopani Pharmacy, and right there by the till, I saw his sachets.
Oh.
And I was so happy. I was so happy to see it as, you know, I was grateful to see what all of us have done.
Absolutely.
NMM as well as you. I was really happy. I was really happy at the moment.
Oh,
That's
that's
all I
great.
wanted to say.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Paul's journey has been quite phenomenal. And I just want him, his journey hasn't finished, you know. I think it's only now starting because he's now got into these spaces. And now I want him to realize what that next stage is. You know, in business,
Yeah.
there's stages of business, and his
Yeah.
stage is in the beginning, it was just about the idea. Then he's built his brand. Now he needs to move on to team and then partners. So
Yeah.
he's still got many more levels to go. So I'm excited for his journey. I think the thing that I want to leave everybody, whoever listens to this, is women in particular, and we all have a very soft heart for women,
Yeah.
obviously, as the world changes and moves forward. Take bigger risks.
Lovely.
Men take risk. They take risks already. I think maybe it's the way that we've been brought up is a little bit different from a woman's perspective, but women need to really take the moment to take risks.
Yeah.
Because we tend to shy away. And when people start talking about that, there's not enough women in leadership and there's not enough women in business and women are not taking the risks. There's a
Yeah.
lot of opportunity out there, but who are the people that are stepping up? And I would like to see more women step up in that space and take those risks and move forward. It's a great
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Pleasure
Have a
having
great
you.
day.
And you.
Pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.